Tonight, Sean Diddy Combs behind bars. A federal judge denying the music mogul bail following his arrest and indictment as federal prosecutors allege Combs is dangerous and poses an ongoing threat to the safety of the community. In court today, Combs pleading not guilty to 3 federal counts: sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution.
Sean Combs led and participated in criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice.
In an indictment unsealed this morning, federal prosecutors say since 2008, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct.
As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse.
Combs' arrest at a New York City hotel Monday night comes 6 months after federal authorities raided the Grammy winners' homes in Los Angeles and Miami. Today revealing what they say they found: firearms, including 3 defaced AR-15s in his bedroom closet, and videos of elaborately produced sex performances with multiple victims, known as freak-offs, according to prosecutors.
Freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant.
An attorney for Combs maintaining his client's innocence.
Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent.
Today's federal case following a string of civil suits, including one filed last week by a member of the girl group Diddy Combs, as well as a settlement with singer Cassie, seen in this 2016 surveillance video being physically attacked by Combs. Cassie later filing a civil suit accusing Combs of raping and physically abusing her. The terms of their 2023 settlement were not disclosed. An attorney for Combs telling a judge today that Mr. Combs is not a perfect person. These toxic relationships were mutual, adding, "Is it sex trafficking if everyone wants to be there? We don't want the federal government in our bedroom." But tonight, federal prosecutors are leaving the door open for even more arrests, saying Combs did not act alone.
I'm not taking anything off the table.
And Chloe was in the courtroom. Chloe, how did Combs react to the judge's decision to keep him in custody?
Lester, I was sitting just a few feet away from Combs during his arraignment, and he was completely expressionless as the judge denied him bond, and then he was cooperatively escorted away by U.S. Marshals. His attorney now saying that they plan to appeal this decision as early as tomorrow. Lester?
All right, Chloe Melas, thank you. Our senior legal correspondent, Jarrett, is here with us. Let me pick up on that train of thought. What was the judge's reasoning for not giving him bail?
Yeah, Combs had offered to put up $50 million as a bond, but it simply did not work, Lester. Prosecutors went in today saying he's a flight risk, a danger to the community, and the judge agreed, finding that she was worried about his substance abuse issues, as alleged by prosecutors, and anger issues. She also described here. Now, we've seen high-profile defendants detained pre-trial before. You think about R. Kelly, you think about Jeffrey Epstein. His attorney says he's going to try to appeal this denial of the bail, but if it doesn't work, he could be denied appeal for a long time here and behind bars for more than a year as this goes to trial, Lester.
Okay, Laura, thank you. Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.